These were the reactions of some teens when they were sentenced to life imprisonment after committing a horrific crime. But before we dive into further details, let's check out this 17-year-old who was relieved to hear his sentence.
And you have 4 gray walls to look forward to for the rest of your life.
On November 15, 2010, Michael Swanson drove his mother's Jeep 250 miles to a family cabin. After arriving at his grandfather's house, he stole a shotgun and went to gas stations, where he shot Sheila Myers and Vicky Bauman. He was quickly arrested and taken to the police station for questioning.
That's okay. Mike, as I told you, I'm a police officer. I'm with the DCI. I got some other people coming here to help us kind of get this whole thing figured out, okay?
Okay.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling alright.
Okay. Okay.
I'm tired. I haven't slept in like 4 days, so.
You haven't slept for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. If you need to use the restroom or anything like that, just let me know.
Okay.
So you ordered some food at McDonald's and now that's cold, huh?
Yeah.
Because I didn't ask you if you wanted a cigarette or anything like that.
If I can, yeah.
Before starting serious questioning, the officer offered Michael cigarettes to make him comfortable, but Michael already appeared at ease, showing no signs of regret and maintaining a constant smile on his face.
I'm always curious, how did it feel when you pulled the trigger? I mean, some people say that, it feels powerful or that it's kind of a rush, or what did you feel when you pulled the trigger?
I feel powerful, but like, I don't know, I just didn't really care.
Didn't care, okay? How else did you feel?
It had no effect on me. I just didn't even care. I don't know, I just felt like my adrenaline was pumping. I felt good.
Okay. How do you feel now? Do you feel the same, or has it changed a little bit?
Not really.
Not really?
I don't know. I just feel like, sometimes people get shot.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what this clerk in this gas station looked like? Was it a white lady or a black lady?
It was a white lady. I think she was kind of older, though.
Kind of older? Okay. And can you describe her hair or her face at all?
I think she had darker hair. I think it might have been kind of gray, but that's why I think she was older. But
Okay.
I don't really remember her face, though.
Okay. When you say older, are you about how old?
I'd say like 50s or 60s.
50s or 60s? Okay. Was she a skinny girl or heavy set?
I don't even know. I don't really remember what she looked like. I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember what she was wearing?
I think she was wearing, I don't know, I want to say like an apron.
Some type of
Like a
apron?
red apron, I think.
Was it like part of a uniform that they wear, or?
That's what I think, but,
When asked about his feelings, Michael said he felt powerful and was satisfied by the intense adrenaline rush he experienced after shooting. He recalled the appearance of both women and clearly stated that he did it all for his own satisfaction.
And where did you shoot?
around the body,
Yeah.
in the face.
In the face? Okay. Why in the face? Did you do that on purpose?
It just seems like it's final.
It was final? Okay. Even for the fact that she'd be dead if you shot her in the face?
More than likely.
Okay. Okay. And why did you want her to be dead as opposed to just be injured?
I don't know. It's just... I don't know, like... If I was just gonna shoot to injure her, why would I shoot her at all? I don't know. don't know. That's like what I'm thinking right now, but I don't know. That's about them.
Okay. So after you shot her, did you see how she fell?
I think she said something when I shot her. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know, she made, I don't know, some noise. And she just fell down. She just kind of fell on the ground. And I walked to the car.
Okay. You said that she made some type of noise. What type of noise did she make?
It sounded like kind of like a half scream, half gasp.
Okay. Can you imitate it? I mean, I know you can't do it perfectly, but...
I don't know, it just kind of sounded like she was surprised. It was like, oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Because I didn't last very long, but I remember, she said something.
Okay.
Made some type of noise.
Okay. And you said that you walked out of the gas station here?
Yeah. Like, I didn't like even the fast. I just kind of like walked with it in my hand, bag in the hoodie.
Okay.
Walked to the car, got in, drove away.
Okay. Were you worried about getting caught at that point?
Not really.
Michael stated that his intention was to kill the women, not merely injure them. He vividly recalled how they fell to the ground and the sounds they made after being shot, but he had no answers when asked about his intentions behind the attack.
So why did you come to Iowa?
Oh no.
What's so funny? You're smiling.
Y'all are funny.
How could you do what you did to my mom and my family? I want to know if you're even sorry. Are you sorry for what you did? My mom was not only completely 100% innocent, but she was also a defenseless woman when you came in with that gun. You said you did it for cigarettes and money and so no one could identify you, but I think that's a lie. You did it, as you later said on, that it was so you could feel powerful. How could killing a defenseless woman and an outright execution be powerful or fair? My mom did nothing to you.
Michael showed no signs of regret even when taken to jail. He treated the situation like an adventure, and his constant smile was disturbing and disrespectful to both the viewers and the victim's family.
Follows verdict number 1. We find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree, signed foreperson. In the District Court for Humboldt County, State of Iowa, plaintiff versus Michael Richard Swanson, defendant, number FECR 008863, verdict form, count 2. The jury has returned the following verdict. Verdict form number 1, we find the defendant guilty of robbery in the first degree, signed foreperson. Have I accurately portrayed your verdict, sir? And do the rest of you agree with that representation? Very well.
His statement, when I watch TV at night, is extremely lonely because there's no one to talk to, no one to go to bed with, and no one to wake up with in the morning. And we can't forget that this is about Sheila Myers, not about the system failing Michael Swanson, and not about how something must be wrong with Michael Swanson.
The judge found Michael guilty of both murders and sentenced him to life imprisonment. During the announcement, Michael appeared to be enjoying the proceedings as if he were hearing a joke. While he smiled throughout, there were emotional moments in the courtroom, including when Myers' husband broke down.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people, and that's what I've done, and I'm not denying it, but that's not who I plan on to be.
On November 30th, 2021, a mass shooting took place at Oxford High School in Oxford Township, Michigan. Ethan Robert Crumbley, who was aged 15, armed with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, killed 4 students and injured 7 others, including a teacher.
What I plan to do so they're not at fault with what I've done. I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people, and that's what I've done, and I'm not denying it, but that's not who I plan on to be. Whatever sentence it is, I do plan to be better than I am. I don't know if you'll believe that, but record.
I don't think we need to have so many questions right now. records, I'm sure.
Ex-wife. Ex-wife.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
He didn't even like care.
After his arrest, Ethan was taken to jail, where his parents confronted him. Even during this, he was more concerned about his cat rather than his parents. His lack of emotion and regret deeply affected his mother, leaving both parents in a state of distress.
Mr. Crumbley, is there anything you would like to state before I pass sentence?
Your Honor, may he stand?
Yes, you may. Thank you. You may proceed.
I'd like to thank you for letting me speak, Your Honor. You're all here because of me today. What I did. My actions were because of what I chose to do. I could not stop myself, but I am the one who led to why we are here today. I do not diminish any ability to anyone who could have stopped me, of anyone of a school or parents. They did not know, and I did not tell them what I plan to do, so they are not at fault for what I've done. I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people, and that's what I've done, and I'm not denying it, but that's not who I plan on to be. Whatever sentence it is, I do plan to be better than I am. I don't know if you'll believe that, but records of 15, 20, 25 years can show that it will change. Because it may not show it now with only 2 years of records, but I am trying. And all I want is for the people I hurt to just have a final sense of culpability that justice has somewhat been served in any capacity that they can recognize it with. Any sentence that they ask for, I ask that you do impose it on me, because I want them to be happy and I want them to feel secure and safe, and I do not want them to worry another day. So I really am sorry for what I've done, for what I've taken to them. I cannot give it back, but I can try my best in the future to help other people, and that is what I will do. So thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
When Ethan was presented in court, he showed some emotion for the victims' families and declared himself a bad person. He expressed readiness to accept any punishment the judge imposed, seeking to achieve justice for the victims' families.
Being fully familiar, but before I get that, I will also note that counsel brought up an issue of making bombs for Hitler. The court, that does not change the court's opinion about the defendant's obsession with violence. I thank Ms. Hopp for bringing that to my attention, but it still does not change the court's opinion about him being obsessed with violence, because his obsession was also outlined in the websites that he visited. His obsession was also outlined in his extensive drawings of violence. And his obsession continued, as I noted in the court's opinion in order, even while he was in the Oakland County Jail. With that, the court...
During his trial, the judge highlighted Ethan Crumbley's obsession with violence, which was evident from his search history, demeanor, and drawings. His love for serial killers was so intense that he named his cat Dexter after a famous serial killer show.
2022 279-506 FC, count 1, terrorism causing death. Sentence of the court is that defendant shall serve life without the possibility of parole, credit for 8 days served. Counts 2 through 5, homicide, first degree, premeditated murder, juvenile defendant. Sentence of the court is that defendant shall serve the rest of his life without the possibility of parole with the Michigan Department of Corrections, credit for 8 days served. On counts 6 through 12, assault with intent to murder. On each of the counts, defendant is sentenced to 18 years and 9 months to 80 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections, credit for 8 days served. On counts 13 through 24, those being felony firearm, defendant is sentenced to 2 years with the Michigan Department of Corrections on each of those counts with credit for 730 days served. Counts 1 through 12 are concurrent to each other, and counts 13 through 24 are concurrent to each other. Count 1 is consecutive to count 13, count 2 is consecutive to count 14, count 3 is consecutive to count 15, count 4 is consecutive to count 16, count 5 is consecutive to count 17, count 6 is consecutive to count 18, count 7 is consecutive to count 19, count 8 is consecutive to count 20, count 9 is consecutive to count 21, count 10 is consecutive to count 22. Count 11 is consecutive to 23, and count 12 is consecutive to count 24. All of those consecutive counts are by reason of the felony firearm statute. Is there a challenge to restitution here?
There is not, Your Honor.
Thank you. Restitution will be set in the amount of $20,781.
Ethan was charged as an adult with 24 crimes, including murder and terrorism. He pleaded guilty to all charges in October 2022 and was sentenced in December 2023 to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 24 years. His parents, Jennifer and James Crumbley, faced charges of involuntary manslaughter for failing to secure the handgun used in the shooting.
Mr. Trevino?
No, Your Honor.
All right. The jury having found you guilty of murder in the first degree, Miss Mee, I will adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to life in prison without parole.
The case of Jennifer Mee occurred in October 2010 when she met Shannon Griffin on an online site and later called him to a vacant home. Mee led Griffin to the back, where two men, Lauron Rayford and Lemont Newton, were armed and waiting to rob him, but instead of robbing him, they shot him, leading to their arrest days after the murder.
Circuit Court, Pinellas County, Florida. State of Florida versus Jennifer Mee, murder in the first degree. We, the jury, the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree as charged. So say we all, foreperson of the jury, George O'Meara, dated September 20, 2013.
She was then presented to the court, where the spotlight on Mee after her arrest and during the trial contrasted sharply with the attention she received in 2007, when she earned the nickname Hiccup Girl for having hiccups that lasted more than a month.
Clerk? Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request may come from those who are simply curious or from those who might seek to find fault with you. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. Thank you for performing a very important public service by serving as jurors in this case. Your jury service is complete, and you're free to go, and the bailiffs will help you out that way. Thank you.
The trial was deeply emotional for both Mee and her mother, as neither could have imagined that the media's former darling would one day face murder charges and stand before the court begging for mercy.
Jury having found you guilty of murder in the first degree, Miss Mee, I will adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to life in prison without parole. I'm ordering the $550 standard fines and court costs and the $100 state attorney fee as a lien. You have 30 days to appeal. Mr. Trevino, would you like me to consider appointing counsel for appeal, or?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Mee, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you have the funds to hire a lawyer to represent you on this appeal?
No.
Okay, you may put down your hand. Madam Clerk, I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office for appeal. Anything else I need to cover, State? Mr. Trevino? Okay? Yeah, very good. Thank you. Miss Olney, Mr. Loberzo, did you want to leave with the victim's family or people? Why don't you go ahead and go? Thank you. Thank you very much, Sheriff. You were great all week.
Things took a drastic turn for Mee when the judge announced her punishment of life imprisonment without parole after she was found guilty of first-degree murder. It was shocking and heartbreaking for her admirers as well, knowing she had her whole life ahead of her, but would now spend it all behind bars.
I felt like a lot of it was due to manipulation and being brainwashed, so to speak. In my mind, I was like, what do you mean you killed him? He was like, he's dead. And from there, it just seemed like everything unraveled. I still truly don't know and understand what took place for them to do what they did.
Behind bars, Mee gave her first interview, defending herself by claiming she wasn't aware of her friend's plans and was shocked to see Griffin dead. She also blamed her involvement on her bad habits, including drug use and other intoxicating substances.
You are doing life in prison. What do you think would be fair?
I think, me personally, I feel would be fair is at least 20 years. I do, because yes, somebody's life was taken, somebody's loved one, somebody's child.
Your attorney has said now there's less than a 1% to 2% chance of you ever getting out of here. How do you hold on to hope?
I can't put nothing past God, but I've been locked up since I was 19. I can't stop fighting. I have a family that wants me home.
Mee told the media that she believed the judge was too harsh in sentencing her to life imprisonment, stating that 20 years would have been sufficient. She was also motivated to fight for a reduction in her sentence until her last breath, hoping to reunite with her family.
The uncle says he tipped off police that Seandell Jackson was hiding down in Mississippi, where he was eventually arrested. That uncle purposely stayed away from court today, while Jackson's mother pleaded for leniency.
On July 6, 2009, a U de Leon student was walking into his River West apartment when he was robbed at gunpoint by Seandell Jackson and another man, Derek Thomas, and since the student had no money, Jackson shot him, but he was soon arrested by the cops when his uncle tipped off to police. After his conviction, Seandell was brought before the court where both he and his mother begged the judge for mercy, but it was too late because although he might have avoided the punishment if he were younger, at 19 years old, he was considered an adult and had to face the consequences.
What that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster. He is not a monster.
Apologize for my behaviors. Please don't take my life from me.
When the judge announced Seandell's life imprisonment, chaos erupted in the courtroom as Seandell tried his best to create a scene, but the officers eventually controlled him. But despite the officers' efforts, he was uncontrollable.
Life and the need to protect the community, which I also fear for with Mr. Jackson being out in the community. I am going to go ahead on count 1, the first-degree intentional homicide conviction, and I am going to sentence Mr. Jackson to life imprisonment without possibility for extended supervision. I know that that is something that is reserved for the most serious of cases, and I believe that this case rises to that level.
The other family members could also be heard crying for mercy, but the judge's decision was final, and she found Seandell guilty. Seandell showed no regret, only anger, as he stared at the victim's family. And despite his resistance, officers eventually tackled and pepper sprayed him before taking him away.
Time to think about a whole lot of things now, because you just can't take nobody's life. You know, that's just wrong.
At one point, Seandell even smiled at the victim's family as he was escorted out of the courtroom and was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment, while his uncle, who tipped off the cops, expressed satisfaction with the court's decision.
So therefore, I am going to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual with the found over for General Sessions Court.
The horrendous incident occurred in 2015 when emergency services received a call about a house fire. Inside the house was a 17-year-old boy named Joshua Hill, who passed away despite his brother Jacob's attempts to save him.
The malice that it would take to set a fire in the bedroom where the child is in the crib sleeping. A burn pattern that goes from underneath that child towards the door of the bedroom. That is caused by likely something that's a significant burn pattern, as he described it. It could have been alcohol, it could have been something else that gets consumed by the fire. But a significant burn pattern shows that there is something set significant and intentional. And at that point, to start a fire in that room is hidden. To walk away, not trying to escape that fire. And immediately starting another fire in the living room. And then to claim it's an accident, that it got out of control. That's an extreme recklessness, and that's intent. That's malicious.
A few days later, Jacob admitted that the fire was caused by his obsession with fire. He had been playing with flames in the bedroom, and a blanket caught fire, spreading throughout the house. Jacob was promptly arrested and brought to court.
As you walk away from the fire that you've just lit in another room with a small baby, walk into the front room, light that fire, and then leave the residence standing outside watching it burn, till it becomes too much to go back to. That's malice. And so malice is here on both counts, because all that murder requires is malice aforethought and what fascination with fire, to watch that burn, knowing that that child was in there that was going to die, and not calling 911, not saving that child when he could have, and not having started the fires in the first place. He has to take responsibility. And so there's much more here than probable cause. So I would ask the court to find probable cause on both charges in this case.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. The testimony.
The court did not view it as a mere mistake, considering Jacob was 17 and should have known right from wrong. Consequently, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison, which caused Jacob to break down in the courtroom.
Testimony. I believe the state has, in fact, met their burden. So therefore, I am going to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual with the found over for General Sessions Court for both charges.
Michael was eventually released from prison after 7 years and placed on probation. Over the past years, Morgan's case has continued to capture interest on TikTok, Facebook, and other social media platforms, with people debating his guilt, whether someone of his age and state of mind should have been jailed, and the 2015 death of the 14-month-old child.